Hey everybody, it's Carm here. Well, back on with a video that I wasn't planning on doing, and wasn't hoping to hear about this news, of course, but just earlier I heard from Bill, good friend Bill at the Vinylverse. I'm sure many of you know that we lost another master. The great Klaus Schulze passed on yesterday, and I'm still really in shock and just processing it all. Someone who, of course, was deeply influential and inspirational to generations of all kinds of artists, not just electronic musicians, all kinds of musicians. I'm sure visual artists and writers as well, as he was influenced by many, and very inspiring. Whenever I think of Klaus, this picture in particular comes to mind. Kind of mischievous smile and surrounded by his synthesizers, which of course, again, he was such an innovator of. This really hits home for me in so many ways, not just because he was an artist that I had admired greatly for so long, but also being he passed on. He was 74, which is the same age as my folks and many of their friends. So many people who I'd grown up with and surrounded by, and was influenced by myself. So it's home for that reason as well. And my own introduction to him, probably like quite a few others, was through this Time Wind, 1975. I was in a shop called Chicago Digital, which is an all CD store in Oak Park, Illinois. Still open to this day, as far as I know, and started going there for the first time in spring of 1992, possibly for the first time, could have been to the day, and came across this and asked the clerk, a fellow named John, there's a few people working there, I said, do you have any recommendations for this particular artist? This looks really interesting. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, I have the entire catalog, Klaus Schulze catalog, at home, and what you're holding is as fitting as anything else to start with. So I did. Not this exact copy. It's a reissue with some bonuses. But the two sidelong cuts in their varying ways just was galvanizing. I was a 16-year-old sophomore at the time, and he'd already gotten into Tangerine Dream a little bit, and Vangelis and everyone else, but this was took me to another realm, another plateau, and so much that could be said. Of course, the Urazaman artwork, which graced many of his covers over the years. There's so much I can say, and I'm still really feeling it. I just grabbed a couple stacks of CDs. I didn't even grab any records. I'll just show these real quick. Just example of over the years, just how much I got into his music. So much. Cyborg, very early album, a double album. Black Dance, 74. Again with that artwork. Something that was in the vault, Schulze Schickert session, kind of similar to Time Wind, except with a 12-string guitar. The Moon Dawn from 76. Another one that really, along with Time Wind, really made him more well known. There's another copy of that. Mirage. 77. Another one that's very, it's among my favorites. Different than what he had done previously. Just very distinctive. I have this playing in the background. This live album from 1980. Just incredible stuff. This is what I was showing before. Dune, 1979. inspired by the book, series of books. Dig It in 1980. Going into a different direction here, more digital, but still very distinctive. Has a DVD bonus of kind of a multimedia event, which is really interesting in that time. It's the most recent thing I found of his, a reissue with Rainier Bloss. He's also a keyboardist. Early to mid 80s. It's really nice. Drive-in. Got Angst, 1984 soundtrack. Also another one with all these that were reissued had, I think just about all of them had bonus material. It's a really nice long thing that was in the vault. Silent Survivor, very sequencer based. Interface, it's from '85. Something that would be good to get into if you're coming from like a pop rock perspective and you're not quite ready for a lot of his other stuff. This would be, it's very accessible, especially the opening cut on the edge. Dreams, '86. This is one of my personal favorites of his later period works. In Blue. It's a triple set, also guesting Manu Gauching from Ashra Temple, who he played with. You know, played on and off with him for many years. Are You Sequenced? '96. Kind of getting more into more techno territory. Which, of course, I believe in a lot of ways he was really inspired a lot of that, even his earliest works. The Crime of Suspense, 2000, originally from 2000. Androgen, I think this had some reissued work on there. It's much later, 2017. Eternal, 70th birthday celebration edition here. A combination of works, I think some previously issued and more recent to the time. Another personal favorite, especially of the later era, Continuum. Again, harks back to the early work, but really definitely making something new and very fresh. In the studio there. Part of a very large series, La Vie Electronique. A lot of stuff in the vault, live things. This is some of his earliest, I think pretty much his earliest recorded stuff. Solo organ, treated, even pre-synthesizer. And you could really hear the roots of later albums kind of in gestation, or almost like sketches before they really came to fruition on the albums. Great stuff in this series. So it's really nice collaborations too over the years. This is with Lisa Gerard, Farscape. Beautiful, haunting, brooding stuff here. Of course, Lisa from Dead Can Dance. Dasberg Online. Another one, say more in the techno vein. Interesting, another side. There's a few earlier things mixed in. In Trance. It's from the mid to late 80s. Beyond Recall, 91. It's a live one, live at Ellengart. It's from the early 2000s. And some more live stuff here. Royal Festival Hall, Volume 1. Volume 2. This is actually the second album of his I'd ever picked up after Time Wind. So hearing these albums so many years apart, it was really striking to hear the differences there, and how much he had changed, evolved and changed. And a dome vent. I kind of tend to think of these as being kind of all of one piece, or like a trilogy in a way. An earlier copy of In Blue, original one. He'd also he'd recorded under a pseudonym, which later became a like a side project, Richard Wanfried, early one-time actor. Arthur Brown, who had collaborated on a couple of the earlier ones, I believe is on here. Kind of progressive thing. Drums and Balls, is this called? It was a later one, 1997. A more recent one, Transformotion. Very long piece at the beginning there. Another thing too is he really mastered the art of the extended piece of music. Could go on for 30, 40, 50 minutes and still have great continuity, stretching out and just with great patience. This one's Trance Appeal. Great patience in allowing the piece to evolve on its own, taking its own course. Dark Side of the Moog, Pete Namlook, box set, a collaboration he'd done together back in the 90s, mid-90s. A couple more here. Definitely interesting hearing his, again with the collaborations, how they blended, and hearing how they kind of came through together, as well as the distinctive individual voicings coming through. But yeah, just a few things from Klaus. But yeah, there's so many things that could be said, and again, I'm still just processing this. I mean, it's I know it's going to hit harder later, because again, he was someone that was, his music did part of my life for 30 years, and I know so many people I got into subsequently had been directly influenced and inspired by people like him, and of course Edgar Froese, and others from that time. And it'll probably take another couple generations to look back and assess Klaus's work, and the influence he's had, and just what he's done in and of itself. And there's probably still a lot of things in the vault. I mean, he recorded an incredible amount of work over all these decades. So yeah, if you're a fan, of course, you know what all this, you understand all this, and I'm sure you'll be spinning some of his albums. And if you're not already familiar, and you're interested in electronic at all, synth-based, what better person to start with? So rest in peace, Klaus, and thank you just for everything. And yeah, I just wanted to come on and do this, pay some kind of respect here. It's pretty heavy, but he's one of the greats. So thank you all for watching, and until the next one, peace, love, and joy.